Good afternoon, everyone. So today is lecture number 15 of this heat treatment class, and today's topic is tempering heat treatment. And also we'll see many plots which is related to the heat treatment, basically continuous cooling transmission plot, and we'll see some cooling curves also. So you can see this is a very good plot, that is temperature versus time, but this time is basically log T, you have to remember, right? So what kind of plot is this, if you remember? This is the eutectoid temperature, right? And this plot is up to this. Which kind of plot is this? This is continuous cooling transmission plot, right? Because this plot is up to this one. This curves, this C curve is up to this. That's why it is a continuous cooling transmission plot. So if you remember, this is the transformation start curve, and this is the transformation end curve, right? Here we do not have any Benaitic transformation plot. You can see this is MS, that means this is Martensitic start temperature, and this is, okay, it is not there, but there is another temperature called Martensitic finishing temperature, MF. Anyways, so you understand these are the cooling curves. This is one cooling curve, this is another cooling curve, this is another cooling curve, this is another cooling curve, and this is another cooling curve, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 cooling curves which are superimposed on this CCT diagram, right? So here you can see our starting temperature is above eutectoid temperature, this one. That means our steel is now at this temperature, and we are trying to cool our steel from this temperature zone, right? So this temperature zone is above eutectoid temperature. Suppose we have a eutectoid steel. So if we have a eutectoid steel and our steel is at this temperature, that means above eutectoid temperature, that means the steel will have austenite grains and grain boundaries. So now our steel have austenite phase, which is the parent phase here. Now I want to cool my steel in a different cooling rate. So I want to do what? I am superimposing cooling curves on this CCT diagram. So this is the cooling curves first. So if this is the cooling curve, you can see that means this is the time axis, you understand. That means I am giving sufficient time to cool my steel from this temperature. And you understand above eutectoid temperature for eutectoid steel, austenite is stable above this eutectoid temperature. But below this temperature, below this eutectoid temperature, the austenite is unstable. Unstable austenite means it will definitely transform into other products, right? Which already you have studied in TTT diagram, right? You understand. So this reason is basically austenite reason, unstable austenite reason, unstable. Above this, it is stable austenite, but below this line, this is unstable austenite, and these are the transformation products. These are the transformation products, right? So you can see this first cooling curve is very slow. That means cooling rate is so slow that you can consider this as a full annealing. It is already written over here as full annealing, right? Cooling rate is very slow. Cooling will be done inside the furnace, so you'll end up with coarse perlite. Similarly, suppose your cooling rate, you increase the cooling rate. The second cooling curve is this, and you are increasing the cooling rate. So when you increase the cooling rate, it is like this. You can see it is normalizing, and the end product is fine perlite. Next, you are cooling again at a faster rate, but you can see this cooling curve is moving like this. So the moment it is touching this curve, that means how many of you remember from this point to this point, what will be the phase? Let me see. From this point
Unstable
to,
austenite and perlite.
very good, unstable austenite and perlite. So what that means, the cooling curve is touching this part of the nose. The nose, you cannot call nose, but it is touching the transformation start point, right? Start temperature. So transformation will happen. Austenite will transform into perlite, but the transformation will not finish. That means few austenite will transform into perlite, but if this curve will touch this one, then complete transformation will take place, because this is the transformation end temperature, right? This curve will show the transformation end temperature, but this line is not touching. This line is touching only the transformation start point, but it is not touching the transformation end point. So what will happen? You will be having in this region, you will be having austenite and perlite. That is unstable austenite and perlite. So, but you are doing fast cooling and you are bringing the temperature below ms. So what will happen? The this unstable austenite will transform into martensite, and the perlite will remain as perlite. So you will end up with two structure, martensite and perlite, right? Similarly, you have to remember this dotted line. This dotted line is very important for hardening heat treatment, because this dotted line is nothing but your critical cooling rate. Critical cooling rate is that cooling rate if you draw a cooling curve on this CCT diagram or TTD diagram, it will just touch the nose of the C curve. Right? If the cooling curve will touch, or it is just a tangent to the nose of the C curve or nose of this CCT diagram, this is called critical cooling rate. It is already written over here. Yes, critical cooling rate. So you have to remember, whenever you are doing hardening, the cooling rate should be just higher than that of the critical cooling rate. That is better actually. You can go for higher cooling rate to compare to that of critical cooling rate. But you understand the problem I told you in the previous class, right? So that means it is just touching, means some transformation will take place, obviously. So finally, same thing will happen, martensite and perlite. Right? But if you compare the amount of martensite here, the amount of martensite will be less here, but in this cooling rate, the amount of martensite will be more, right? Finally, a cooling curve is like that. It is not touching the nose of this curve, C curve, right? It is the cooling rate so fast. It is already written here. Water quenching is done. That means from austenitizing reason, you are taking out the sample from the furnace and you are putting it into the water, right? So the cooling rate is so fast that only martensite will form in the structure. So this is the thing. So you people have understood now how cooling rate is affecting the property of the steel. It will affect the property of the steel because the different phases are coming out, or different microstructure is coming out due to different cooling rate. During full annealing, we are getting coarse perlite. During normalizing, we are getting fine perlite. But if we are doing what? Hardening, this is actually hardening. High rate of hardening, right? Quenching is very fast. The rate of quenching is very fast. So we'll get a martensite here. Right? So now, okay, fine. You people have any doubt in this? If you have any doubt, you can ask me right here.
Yes, sir. Sir, but in quenching that, in hardening process, there is martensitic matrix and cementite.
Yes. Martensitic matrix and cementite. Who told you
Yes, sir.
that?
Sir, but sir, आपण तो କହିଥିଲେ last class. Sir, hypoeutector steel में hardening कले
That is
above I1 and below CM.
okay. Anyways, that is for hypereutectoid steel. But in this condition, what I am saying, which kind of steel it is? It is
Eutectoid steel.
yes, it is eutectoid temperature means that's why it is a eutectoid steel, obviously. Because just eutectoid temperature means this is A1, right? Or A3.
A1.
A1, right? Above A1, austenite is a stable phase for a eutectoid steel, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If it is an hypereutectoid steel, then which kind of phase will be there? Which kind of phase will be there?
Cementite and austenite.
Cementite and austenite. Cementite and martensite or cementite and austenite here at this temperature?
Cementite and austenite.
Yes, cementite and austenite, obviously. But you understand the product. What are the products? Your product is either perlite or martensite. Is there any cementite
Yes,
here? It is present. So that means this is an
No, sir.
eutectoid steel, right? You understand now?
Yes, sir.
If it is an hypereutectoid steel, then this phase will be combination of austenite and cementite, right? It is okay
Yes,
now?
sir.
Yes. So I think your confusion is gone, right? If you
Yes,
have
sir.
any other confusion, you can ask me right here. Okay, anyways, suppose I am cooling my steel and I will cool like this, but I will hold over here. I will not cool below this temperature, 100 degree. I will stop over here. What will happen? What will the phase? Let me see.
Unstable austenite and martensite.
Yes, very good. Why unstable austenite and martensite?
Because all the austenites have not converted into martensite.
Yes. Why? Because the line is not moving. What? The line is not moving
Below
below MF.
martensite.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
below MF.
Finish.
Martensite finish. Very good. Very good. So always you have to remember this is the critical cooling rate. Whenever we are doing hardening should be done. During quenching, during hardening process, it should be the rate of cooling should be just above the critical cooling rate. Right, just above the critical. That is better actually. If you do more critical, if the cooling rate is so high, then quench crack may take place, or a lot of residual stresses will be there in the steel, which is detrimental actually. So this part is clear. Now look at this image. Now this is a question from my side. You have to answer quickly. Huh? So you understand this is the temperature and this is the time, right? So this plot is showing the heat treatment cycle, temperature versus time. So this is the initial room temperature, for example. You are taking your steel to the, suppose this is an austenitizing temperature, and you are holding the steel for this much of time from here to here. This is called soaking. This is heating cycle. This is soaking cycle now. Now three cooling cycles are there. This is one cooling cycle. This is another cooling cycle, and this is another cooling cycle. So I suppose this initial material is your steel, plain carbon steel, for example. Plain carbon steel, suppose it is a hypoeutectoid steel. Let it be a hypoeutectoid steel, and the temperature, you understand, this temperature is actually above the A3. Let it be, it is above A3. Let me write here otherwise. Dotted line is above A3. Now you people tell me quickly, let me see who can answer. Otherwise, let me ask. It would be better if I will ask. Okay, Amish, can you tell me, in one, it is written
Yes,
one,
sir.
annealing one. What will be the product?
Sir, no, unstable austenite plus martensite.
Question is transformation products or microstructure in plain carbon steel. This dotted line is your,
Above
this dotted line
A3.
is your, yeah, it is austenitizing reason, right? But this curve should be going down actually. This is a,
So, sir,
yeah,
the not complete transformation is taken place.
I'm saying this, and this curve actually, it is a half curve, but actually in the real situation, the curve will go like this
Yes,
to
sir.
the room temperature. Suppose this curve is a continuous curve and is going to the room temperature. This is the room temperature here.
Okay, sir.
What is the product?
And sir, complete martensite.
Complete martensite. Okay, very good. Let me see who can answer. Okay, Vishwajit Chaudhary, what will the answer for this one?
Sir,
Actually, this curve is going down to the room temperature finally. It is
yes,
not
sir.
visible here, but this is yeah.
Sir, martensite.
Martensite. Okay, fine. Oh, Pratiksha. Okay, Pratiksha. Pratiksha, can you answer? What will be the product or what will be the microstructure if the cooling curve is like this and it is actually going to the room temperature finally? Pratiksha? Pratiksha? Okay, Saloni, can you answer this one? Okay, Pratiksha is absent, I guess. Saloni, can you answer this one? For this curve, Saloni? Pratiksha, Saloni? Okay, Rameshwari, can you answer? Rameshwari,
Yes, sir. Course per light.
course per light, very good. Course per light. This will be course per light. Why course per light?
Sir, annealing हो जाए.
Yes, annealing. The cooling rate is so slow that sufficient time is available.
Sir, it eutectoid na hypoeutectoid still.
What I told? Eutectoid. I told this is hypoeutectoid.
Sir, then coarse ferrite and perlite.
Yes, coarse ferrite plus perlite. Okay, sorry. For hypotectoid steel and coarse perlite for eutectoid. Okay, let me again ask. Okay, Pratishika, can you answer this one? For this cooling curve, what will be the product? Pratishika?
So fine perlite.
Fine perlite, very good. Fine perlite if it is eutectoid steel, and if it is hypoeutectoid steel, then what will form? If it is a hypoeutectoid steel, then ferrite plus perlite for hypoeutectoid steel. Okay. And fine perlite for eutectoid steel. Okay, very good. And okay, Sagar, can you answer this one? What will be the microstructural product for this cycle? Sagar Sahu? Yes. Sagar? Okay, Srikant, can you answer? Srikant?
Yes, sir.
What will the answer for this one?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, Sriram?
Yes, sir.
What is the answer to this? For this rapid cooling 4, what will be the product? Okay, Susri Debasmita, can you answer this one? Susri Debasmita. Tikeshwar,
Yes, sir.
what is the answer to this question?
Sir,
Intercooling.
martensite.
Very good, martensite. I think those who haven't responded the question, they were not physically present. Susri Devasmita, you are there?
सर प्रतीक्षा पाड़ी जस्ट टेक्स्टेड से जॉइन करला तार पर नेटवर्क इशू थिला आपण एबे किछि पचर दियंतु
Saloni Agarwal. Pratiksha.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Abhay Bhushan.
Yes, sir.
Abhishek Mohanty. Abhishek Mohanty. Abhishek Mohanty. I request CR to note their name. Huh? Abhishek Mohanty. Note the name of Abhishek Mohanty. Adarsh Naik.
Present, sir.
Aditya Acharya.
Present, sir.
Amiz.
Yes, sir.
Amrut Pritam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ankit Aniket.
Present, sir.
Vibhuti Naik.
Present, sir.
Vishwajit Chaudhary.
Yes, sir.
Vishwajit, how you are saying during annealing it will form martensite?
Sorry, sir. I'm confused.
Just
Sorry.
before I have shown you this image, and you are telling in annealing it is forming martensite. Okay, Chandan Maharana.
Present, sir.
Devi Prashad.
Yes,
Devi
sir.
Prashad.
Yes, sir.
Gyanananda. Gyanananda. Yeah, note his name. CR, please note his name. Gyanananda. Ipsita.
Sir, Mishra or Sahu?
Mishra, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Jivajoti. Kumar Harsh.
प्रेजेंट सर
Mohammed.
Present, sir.
Pranav.
Yes, sir.
Pritishika.
Yes, sir.
Rakesh. Rakesh Das. Okay, note his name. CR, note his name. Rakesh Das. Rameshwari. Rituparna.
Yes, sir.
Sagar Sahu. Yes, CR, note his name. Sagar Sahu. Saloni. Note the name of Saloni. Riyaz.
Yes, sir.
Sanjeev Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Sivasis Panda. Okay. Shweta.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
Shweta.
sir. Yes,
Sivasis Sivaprasad.
Present, sir.
Srikant Bishwal.
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Sriram Dikshit. Sushri
Yes, sir.
Sneha Sini Pradhan.
Yes, sir.
Swapnamai.
Yes, sir.
Tikeshwar there. Tushar is there. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll move.
सर अभिषेक महांती ज्ञान राकेश दास सागर एंड सलोनी
Yeah. Note their name. They will remain absent today. They were absent actually. Okay. So finally, next topic is problem with a hardened steel and solution to this. So if you remember, in the previous lecture, we have discussed about hardening heat treatment, right? In hardening heat treatment, our finally microstructure is the martensite, which is obtained by quenching, rapid cooling, right? Very rapid cooling of the steel from the austenitizing temperature, right? So what is the problem with that? That we're going to discuss. So you can see here, result of hardening heat treatment. So upon hardening heat treatment, high hardness and strength will obtain, high wear resistance will obtain, but as hardened steel have lot of internal stresses due to rapid quenching of the steel from austenitic temperature. So this is one of the major issue, right? So due to rapid quenching of the steel, a lot of internal stresses will be there in as hardened steel. That means after hardening, we'll get a steel containing martensitic microstructure but steel is having lot of internal stresses. And if you remember, internal stresses or locked in stresses are not good actually for our service. And second one is, you can see, as hardened steels are brittle in nature. This is another issue. They are brittle in nature, right? And you understand, if I think everybody have gone through that video in the previous lecture. You have seen how the knife is becoming brittle and it is breaking down easily after doing quenching in water.
Yes, sir.
Have you? Yes. So that means if we are doing hardening heat treatment, we'll end up with the steel with brittleness property. The steel is becoming brittle in nature, right? So here it is written, martensite forms is highly brittle in nature. So what will happen? An impact load or sudden load on the steel having this structure will break it easily. We can say that. We can say that hardened steels have poor toughness property, or it has very low ductility. So these are the major issue. The first issue is, I told, as hardened steel have lot of internal stresses, and second one is the steel is brittle in nature. It will break easily if there is an impact loading or if there is a sudden loading. So what will happen? You can see conclusion is hardening heat treatment improves strength, it improves hardness, it improves wear resistance, but it affects ductility, right? So hardening heat treatment will affect the ductility property, toughness property, impact strength, or impact brittleness to the steel. It impacts brittleness to the steel. So steel is becoming brittle. Okay, let me ask here. So what is the meaning of wear resistance? Let me see who can answer. What is the physical meaning of wear resistance?
Resistance to abrasion.
Okay, resistance to abrasion. Okay, yes. No, your voice is not audible properly.
Sir, resistance to scratch.
Okay, resistance to scratch. Anything else? Yes, Sibasis, you can answer it properly. Sibasis?
Yes, sir. Any kind of surface phenomenon like scratch or indentation.
Indentation, you are saying? Wear means it is a kind of
Abrasion.
Wear means it is a kind
Erosion.
of, yes, erosion, you can say. It is a kind of removal of material from the surface.
So corrosion.
Corrosion is a wear. Corrosion and wear, same thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They like peel out the metal surface.
Corrosion and wear are same thing. Wear is a phenomenon. Wear will not occur like corrosion, right? Wear means, suppose you have a piece of steel and you are bringing any hard material and you are rubbing the hard material on the steel surface. If some material will remove from the steel surface, that is getting wear. You people understood now?
Yes, sir.
Wear will not occur like that simply. There should be a relative motion between the two bodies. There should be a relative contact between the two bodies, and two relative motion should be there in between two bodies. Then only if material will get removed from the surface, that is called wear. And you all always have to remember, higher is the hardness of a material, higher is the wear resistance, right? So hardened steels have high hardness and high wear resistance, and they have high strength, means yield strength and tensile strength, right? So you people have understood now what is the problem with the hardened steel, as hardened steel, right? Or after hardening, what is the problem? So now, there is another interesting point here. The brittleness degree is in as hardened steel depends upon weight percentage of carbon. If the steel will have higher percentage of carbon, then the brittleness will be more after hardening heat treatment, right? And it also depends upon cooling rate or severity of the cooling rate. If cooling rate is very fast compared to that of critical cooling rate, like water quenching or ice bath quenching, then it will be more brittle, right? You people have understood up to this?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So due to these reasons, as hardened steels are not directly used in service. So many times people ask, suppose you are doing hardening of a steel, can you use that steel directly in the application or in the service? The answer is no. we cannot use the steel just after hardening heat treatment, because they have a lot of internal stresses inside it, and they have, the material is brittle one. If there will be sudden loading or impact loading, it will break easily, right? So that is the main issue we have. So now, but our aim is to use that steel, obviously, right? So what need to be done? So what is the solution to this? So solution is tempering heat treatment. So tempering heat treatment is done on as hardened steel to remove these excess internal stress and to bring ductility and toughness into the material. Remove this excess internal stress as well as internal stress and brittleness behavior. And to bring ductility and toughness into the material. So you understand, there is a heat treatment called tempering heat treatment. So whenever we are doing hardening heat treatment of the steel, the next treatment will be tempering heat treatment. Anyhow, you have to give tempering heat treatment after doing hardening heat treatment to bring ductility into the steel, to bring toughness into the steel. But problem will be what? Some hardness will be decreased, some magnitude of hardness will decrease, some magnitude of strength will also reduces. But steel will be not brittle like previous condition. So if people can write in examination why tempering is essential after hardening heat treatment. Okay, next we'll move to, yeah, this is a very good. Okay, how many of you remember martensite is a stable phase or metastable phase or equilibrium phase? I mean, stable phase means equilibrium. So it is a metastable or stable phase, or what kind of phase? Martensite?
Non-equilibrium, metastable phase.
Metastable, very good. Martensite is metastable phase. So you understand. How many of you remember this one? What is this? Obviously, this is a Greek alphabet, but what is this Greek alphabet?
Semi-coherent.
Semi-coherent? Are we discussing any kind of precipitation here? Semi-coherent, what you are saying? This, what is this actually? What kind of alphabet is this?
Greek alphabet, alpha.
Alpha prime?
Yes, alpha prime.
Alpha prime is used for which kind of phase?
Ferrite.
Ferrite? Who?
Sir, martensite.
Yes, martensite. Alpha is for ferrite. Alpha dash or alpha prime is for martensite. You people have forgotten everything, I think. Alpha dash or alpha prime, this is martensite. Martensite, ferrite is BCC, martensite is also BCC. But it is BCT actually. Body center tetragonal. Just the C axis is larger, right? But in the BCC, A is equal to B is equal to all the lattice parameter is same. A is equal to B is equal to C. But in martensite, C axis is bigger somewhat. How many of you remember why it is bigger, C axis? Or the Z axis you can say AB. Why?
Because it's a tetragonal.
Yeah, it is a tetragonal. Very good. You remember the crystal structure. Okay, fine. So you understand what happens exactly. This martensitic structure, which is present in the steel due to hardening heat treatment, when reheat, it becomes ferrite and cementite. So this is the final product basically obtained after tempering. Right? So now from this reaction, can you people tell me why ductility is coming into the picture, why toughness is coming into the picture, but in this case, why brittleness is there?
Sir, ferrite is
Sir,
forming. That is
alpha ferrite.
Ferrite is forming. Ferrite is a which kind of phase? Soft or ductile phase? Very good. And Fe3C?
Yes. Hard.
Hard
Brittle
phase.
phase.
Yes, very good. So alpha and Fe3C are which kind of phase? Equilibrium phases, if you remember. In the iron carbon diagram, these are the equilibrium phases. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that means after doing hardening heat treatment, we are getting martensitic microstructure, which is hard and brittle, right? Having lot of internal stresses. But again, we do what? Again, we have to reheat. But this reheat should be up to this. You can see tempering heat treatment, how we are doing. This curve is showing your hardening heat treatment, right? Cooling curve is very fast, right? You are obtaining martensite here. Then again, the steel is heated to a lower temperature. And then again, it is cooling slowly or in a moderate rate. That this part is called tempering heat treatment. So tempering heat treatment is...
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So, do the tempering temperature line has any relation with the transformation and the line point?
Actually, it affects basically if written austenite will be there, that may get affected. If written austenite will be there, written austenite may transform into benite, or it may transform into some perlite or ferrite, right? It depends what kind of transformation will be there. But if martensite will be there, only what happens? This kind of transformation will be taking place. But actually, if you look into the whole tempering process, they have divided into 4 categories on the basis of temperature. You are doing tempering at a very low temperature, or at intermediate temperature, or at a high temperature. There is a range of tempering temperature is there, starting from 100 degree to 700 degrees centigrade for steels. So at what temperature you are going to temper the sample? Hardened sample, right? But cooling rate is not so essential. You understand why? Why? Cooling rate is not essential here.
Transformation is not taking place.
Main transformation is not taking place because already this temperature is eutectoid temperature. For example, if it is eutectoid steel, or this is below A1, right? So tempering is always done below A1 temperature, right? There will be no such phase transformation, but there is a little phase transformation will be happen. You should remember, obviously, because martensite is becoming alpha and cementite. So transformation is happening, but below this temperature, it needs more time, right?
Sir,
Yes.
so को भी phase transform होगा गुरु austenite region को जिबा दरकार ना?
Yes, obviously. Basically, we need, see, 2 things are important. One is the cooling rate, how fast you are doing the cooling, right? And one is basically we should have austenite temperature region.
Sir, tempering रे तो किसी phase transformation होनी?
What is this?
Sir, but हला मैं austenite region को तो known होना था कोई.
What I told, it depends on cooling rate. Again, I am saying that means it actually depends upon the how much time you are also holding. Soaking time is also important, and cooling rate is important. See,
Sir, तला मैं
this
martensite रो benite कर दे परिवा की?
martensite cannot be converted to benite. Why? Yeah, this is the question from my side. Can you convert martensite into benite? Can you convert that?
No, sir.
No, let Sivasis to answer. Can you convert martensite into benite?
Yes, sir.
Can we convert a benite to martensite to benite?
No, sir. Actually, we can convert because we
can
need
do
that
that
austenite
unless until
region.
we take the steel to the austenitizing temperature first, right?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Right?
but how can we convert martensite to ferrite and
Yeah,
cementite?
just look at this one. What is this? What is this?
Martensite.
Martensite is which phase?
Metastable.
What are these phases?
Stable phases.
Stable
Equilibrium
phases, right? What we are doing? What exactly we are doing?
We are raising the temperature, then
We are
holding
raising the
it
temperature. So why we are raising the temperature and what kind of reaction is happening? This is a which kind of transformation? Which kind of transformation is this? How many transformation are there? Let me see. Don't tell me liquid to solid phase transformation and solid to solid phase transformation. Don't tell me that. Just remember the TTD diagram and tell me how many type of transformations are possible. How many of you remember that in how many parts we can divide our C curve of TTD diagram? The entire TTD diagram can be converted into How many how many curves?
How many curves or how many parts?
Yeah, how many parts?
Sir, the perlitic region, then bennetic, then below there is
Don't
martensite
tell me those
and
things.
left side.
The entire C
Also,
curve can be classified into two C curve.
also yeah, perlite
God, you
start
people
and
have forgotten
perlite
everything.
finish region.
You people have forgotten everything, and I don't know. Think I'm not. I don't recall that I have shown you in this subject, or maybe I have shown you in IPM. Maybe it can be classified into two C curve: upper C curve and lower C curve. Upper C curve is a which kind of transformation? It is a completely diffusion transformation. That is called which kind of transformation? Reconstructive. That is called reconstructive transformation. And below C curve is called diffusion, basically diffusionless, but all are actually not diffusionless. So it is called displacive transformation. Now you recall the points?
Yes, sir.
Reconstructive and displacive. What are the products of displacive transformation? Let me see how many of you have remember. What are the products of displacive transformation? The lower part of the C curve is showing what kind of edges? Are Widmanstätten ferrite, benite, and martensites. Right? And displacive and reconstructive transformation involves ferrite and perlite. Yes or no? I think I have shown you those pictures. Okay, let me open this. Otherwise, if you have any confusion, let me open this and let me share that one. Yes. How many of you have remembered this one? Look at this curve. Just look at this is temperature versus log time. Have I shown you this one? Have you ever seen this kind of plot? Temperature versus log time.
So upper bennet, lower bennet part ta khali dekhiଥିଲୁ. So এটা ଥିଲା physical metallurgy ରେ ଥିଲା but diagram exact ଟା ମନେ ନଥିଲା.
Okay, this one. How many of you
No,
have?
sir.
How many of you have remembered this one?
Yes, sir. এটা draw କରିଥିଲା.
So you can see the entire C curve. The C curve should be like this, finally. But the entire C curve can be classified into two parts. This is the top part. Top part is having ferrite and perlite, right? And the bottom part is having Widmanstätten ferrite, benite, and martensite. These are all non-equilibrium products, basically. These are equilibrium products, right? And this product is formed due to diffusion transformation. If there will be a diffusion, then transformation is taking place. But this martensite forms due to diffusion less transformation. There will be no diffusion. But benite and Widmanstätten ferrite, little amount of diffusion may take place, and the diffusion is only of carbon only, not iron, not any substitutional elements, right? Just read this one. I'm waiting for you. Just read this one, then you'll understand what is happening in constructive. This is reconstructive. Reconstructive, and this is displacive. It is done. You people have understood what is happening in reconstructive and displacive.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is the parent phase here in these two cases? Which one is the parent phase?
Austenite.
Austenite.
Austenite, very good. So austenite can be transformed into ferrite either by reconstructive transformation or by displacive transformation. Displacive transformation here, you understand, basically the substitutional alloying element or iron in steel will not diffuse much. There will be no diffusion of substitutional alloying element and iron. Only the carbon atom can diffuse, but some case in nucleation and growth stage, in some case only growth stage, or on nucleation stage only. But if you consider martensite completely, there will be no movement of anything. There will be no diffusion. Neither diffusion of carbon, neither diffusion of iron or any substitutional alloying element. But here you can see in reconstructive, it is entirely diffusion based transformation, or diffusion will take place. And this occurs at high temperature. Reconstructive transformation occurs at high temperature. So you understand. That's why ferrite and pearlite is forming at high temperature. Right? If the temperature is below this one, this kind of transformation is not possible. Right? Only diffusion-less transformation is possible, or this kind of transformation is possible. Right? Just look at this one. This is a austenite phase, right? This is austenite phase. Red, blue, yellow are atoms. Some are carbon atoms, some are your iron atoms, some are substitutional alloying elements. Right? So you can see, just look at this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just look at when there will be a displacive transformation and when there will be a reconstructive transformation. So what is the difference you are getting? Let's look at this one. You need to figure it out.
Shape change.
There is a change in shape. Very good. In which case?
In the first one, reconstructive.
In the reconstructive, there is a shape change. Are you sure? I have
So
told you to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
sir.
atoms.
In displacive.
Yes, in displacive transformation, what is happening? There is a change in shape.
The shape in change.
Yeah, there is a deformation actually. There is a shear or there is a deformation. There is a change in shape of the parent structure, right? But what about this one?
Position changes.
Yes, position change means what exactly is happening? The position will change.
The rearrangement of atoms.
Yeah, atom will rearrange. Very good. How they will rearrange? Unless until they will break the bond, rearrangement will be not possible. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The atom will be completely, the bond between the atoms will be completely break down, and they will start rearranging themselves to a new pattern or new fashion, right? Because why you understand? Because this is an austenite phase, FCC, but now it want to become BCC, for example. So there is a rearrangement, but here in this case, this is also ferrite, but there is a shear or there is a deformation. Plastic deformation is happening. There is a shape change is happening here, but there is no diffusion. Yes or no? That means here diffusion is happening. Here there will be no diffusion. You people are getting my point? You can check the position of 1, 2, 3. Position of atom 1, 2, 3, 4 is like this. But here position of atom is 1 here, 2 is here, 3 is 3. Where is 3? 3 I cannot able to see 3. Yeah, 3 is here, and 4 is somewhere here, right? But in you look at this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this kind of movement of atom is called coordinate movement of atom or military movement of atom. Like military people are marching forward, or like in a coordination they are moving, right? But there is no diffusion actually. Just they will get sheared up. You people understood now? You people understood now
Yes, sir.
what I meant to say here, right? Okay, so what
Yes,
we
sir.
are discussing actually, this part is very important for examination point of view. Huh? Okay, so now let me close this one. Okay. So yeah, Sivasis, now can you tell me what is happening here? Yeah, you said there will be no transformation, but this is martensite and this is ferrite and cementite. So transformation is possible or not?
सर देखा जाऊंगा स्लाइड
Slide is not visible. Okay. Now it is visible.
yes sir it is possible
Possible, you understand why? Because it involves diffusion of what? Diffusion is taking place. That is the point. You understand now what I mean to say. Here reconstruction is taking place due to temperature is
Yes, sir.
available. Yes, temperature is available. Basically, what happens? Carbon atom is getting diffused out. You understand? Martensite is a which kind of structure? What is the definition of martensite for a steel?
supersaturated solid
Yes, obviously it is a
solution of
supersaturated solid
carbon.
solution, right? If it is a supersaturated solid solution, a lot of carbon is there, right? They will come out. They will diffuse out from the martensite when you reheat again. Now you understand? So if from martensite, carbon will come out. So what will happen? Ferrite will be there now. And the carbon which will come out, that react with iron to form cementite. This kind of transformation is possible right now because of diffusion is happening.
Yes sir.
But you have to remember, this is the final reaction. Or if you are doing tempering at a very high temperature, then this reaction is possible. The martensite will decompose into ferrite and cementite. So from ferrite and cementite, who can answer which one is matrix and which one is the second phase or precipitate?
Ferrite is matrix.
ferrite is
Yes, ferrite is matrix.
Precipitate.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, so tempering heat treatment. So you can see tempering heat treatment which is always followed by hardening heat treatment, right? So after doing hardening, tempering will be done always. The figure is showing, you can see, we are heating the steel to the austenitizing temperature, then we are quenching it. After quenching, we are getting martensite. Again, we are reheating the steel to the tempering temperature, and finally, we'll cool it slowly or in moderate rate, right? So you can see, we have a as received steel, then we'll do hardening heat treatment, then you'll get a as hardened steel, which will contain the martensite, which is brittle and having lot of internal stresses. And then you'll do tempering heat treatment on this as hardened steel. After doing tempering heat treatment, you'll get a tempered martensitic structure. You have to remember. You'll get a tempered martensite after doing tempering. Then finally, the steel for service. That means you can use this steel for any service where there is basically where we want high toughness, high strength. So we can use that. So this is the sequence. So tempering, hitting the as hardened steel below lower critical temperature and cooling it in a desired rate. This is tempering heat treatment. So result of tempering heat treatment is what? You can see. What is the result? If you do tempering of the steel after hardening, what is the result? Restoration of ductility and toughness and transformation of written austenite. So these things will happen. Ductility will come into picture, toughness will be there, and finally, if there will be some written austenite in your as hardened steel, that will get transformed into ferrite or pearlite or benite, depends upon the temperature and composition of carbon, basically. Here, there is a very
Sir?
interesting. Yes.
Sir, ଆପଣ age hardened କହୁଛନ୍ତି ନା as hardened?
AS.
Yes, sir.
It's not age. As hardened. It is written over here. You can see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, tempering रे sir ସବୁ martensite transform ହେବା ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ କରାଯାଏ ନା କିଛି martensite transfer ହେଲା ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ କରାଯାଏ?
No. Actually, it depend upon the material types, or it depend upon the service or application area where you want to use your alloy or the steel, alloy steel or plain carbon steels, right? Suppose you want maximum hardness but very low ductility, or you want high wear resistance where toughness is not important. So no need of doing this kind of reactions, right? This reaction will happen at a very high temperature, like above 350 or above 400 degrees centigrade.
Sir, ଏଇଟାକୁ mark tempering କହୁଛନ୍ତି କି?
Mark tempering is a different heat treatment. I'm not talking about mark tempering. I'm talking about tempering only. Mark tempering is
Okay,
a
sir.
different heat treatment. I'll discuss that. It is there in your syllabus. I'll discuss that.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, when we are creating a martensite, then we are doing the non-equilibrium cooling,
Yes, obviously.
and after the tempering, we are again creating the equilibrium cooling products.
Yes.
Then, sir, what is the need of first creating a non-equilibrium cooling product?
Okay. Can you create this kind of structure directly from austenitizing temperature? Suppose I'll give you a steel. Suppose I'll give you a hypoeutectoid steel, fine, or I'll give you a eutectoid steel. Let it be a eutectoid steel. Can you make this kind of structure directly? Possible? It is possible. Obviously, it is possible.
By
Or not?
equilibrium cooling.
Yes, it is possible.
Yes, sir.
By which kind of reaction? Eutectoid reaction, obviously.
Yes, sir.
But the product will be how the product will be, the morphology or the size and shape.
Sir, perlite ରହିବ?
Sir,
Suppose it is a eutectoid steel. Perlite, eutectoid steel, it is perlite. But if it will be a hypoeutectoid steel, then it will be perlite plus cementite. But here, what is the phase? Is there any perlite present here?
No, sir.
What is the difference between perlite and this kind of structure?
Sir, perlite is exactly at eutectoid composition.
Forget about the eutectoid composition. If it is also hypoeutectoid steel, perlite will be there. But ferrite plus perlite will be there, right? But my question is, what is the difference between this one and perlite? This reaction and perlite, what is the difference? Few minutes before I told you something. Which one is matrix, something I'm talking about? I have told something, matrix and something.
Sir, in perlite there will be one plate of ferrite and then again plate of cemented.
Yes, very good. There will be bicrystal.
Yes, sir.
So
but
here
here
and interpenetrating one another, right? That is
here
a perlite.
that type of structure is not available.
Yes, this is a ferrite matrix. The matrix phase is ferrite and cemented particles are there, right? Now you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. And another point, if suppose you want to use your hardened steel, for example, at a low temperature. At low temperature, like suppose like temperature is like below 100 degrees centigrade, for example. The application temperature is below 100 degrees centigrade, and there is no impact loading is there. You need only wear resistance property, for example. So no need to do tempering much. 100-degree tempering is enough. That means steel, it has martensite, right? It may have epsilon martensite. There is a sorry, there is a phase called epsilon carbide. You can have an epsilon carbide also in that phase. You do not have this kind of phase. So this reaction actually happen at a very high temperature, like above 450 or 400 degrees centigrade. Okay, fine. So these are the things, and hardening followed by tempering is the only heat treatment which improves elastic. Okay, there is an interesting line here. Hardening followed by tempering is only heat treatment which improves elastic limit of the steel. If you want to increase the elastic limit, you can do hardening, then tempering. Then, okay, so you will understood now this one. What structural changes or what phenomenon happens in steel during tempering heat treatment? So inside the steel, what will happen during tempering, right? So these things will happen. One is ejection of carbon from supersaturated salt solution, that is martensite. Second one is diffusion of carbon to defect like dislocation core and twinning plane, leading to reduction in the stress. Then transformation of written austenite. Austenite will transform into something else. Then formation of epsilon carbide, that is Fe 2.4C. Cementite and epsilon carbide are like, there is a difference between cementite and epsilon carbide. Epsilon carbide is Fe 2.4C. But cementite is Fe3C. And cementite is have different crystal structure, complex orthorhombic, but this one is having HCP structure, you have to remember. Then formation of cementite spheroid in ferrite matrix. So these things will happen. And this thing will happen according to the temperature. Suppose you are raising the temperature from room temperature to high temperature, like up to 700 degrees centigrade, this phenomenon will occur one by one. So you can see we have a very nice table here. You can see various stages of tempering, which depends upon temperature at which the age hardened steel is present. So you can see, suppose your temperature is starting from the room temperature to 100 degrees centigrade. This is called stage 1 tempering. Tempering stage number. Stage 1 tempering, what will happen? Stress will relieved due to diffusion of carbon to the defects, dislocation core and twinning plane, right? So stress will start getting relieved at this temperature. Then when the temperature is 100 to 250, it is called stage 2. These are in degrees centigrade, fine. Stage 2 kind of tempering. Stage 2 tempering is what? Epsilon carbide will form, Fe 2.43 cementite kind of thing. Then finally, if you rise the temperature more and more, like 250 to 350, then stage 3 tempering will form. Your transformation of written austenite will take place. So written austenite, which is present in as hardened steel, will transform into perlite, ferrite, or benite, depends upon the temperature and composition of the carbon. Then finally, so here, if the temperature is very high, like 350 to 700, it is stage 4, and here what will happen? Formation of cementite as martensite lose its carbon, and spheroidization of cementite will occur. So finally, you will end up with ferrite matrix and cementite particles. So that you understand, that means different stages of tempering is required for different applications, right? And another important point I would like to say is, when you do tempering, martensite, the number of dislocations will also get reduced. You have to remember that the dislocation density also get reduced. You understand the process. Annealing, due to annealing, the dislocations will get removed. Basically, not exactly annealing, it is due to recovery. Due to recovery, a lot of dislocations will get removed. So dislocation density will decrease. So if the dislocation density decreases, you understand, ductility will increase, toughness will increase again. And this is a graph showing hardness versus weight percentage of carbon for hardening heat treatment, and for this, for martensite and for perlite. You can see the martensite hardness is increasing with increasing weight percentage of carbon, but it will become constant after some time. But perlite hardness increases like this. It is kind of linear, but this is kind of this one. Okay, fine. The conclusion of this topic is what? Whenever we need very high strength, high wear resistance, and basically, high strength, high hardness, we need to do hardening heat treatment. Why? Because if you give hardening heat treatment to the steel, martensite will form. But the problem is what? We cannot use that steel directly in the service, right? So we need to do tempering heat treatment. Why we need to do tempering heat treatment? Because if you do heat treatment that is called tempering, the internal stresses present in the structure will get removed, and the martensite will become tempered martensite. That means the brittleness property will also get reduced. After tempering, we will have a steel which is having high toughness, high strength. It has some ductility, and wear resistance is also good. So now after doing tempering, we can use the steel for our applications, because if we use the steel directly after hardening, the toughness is very low. It will easily break into pieces because it is highly brittle in nature. Or impact toughness is poor, or you can say impact resistance is low, very low in that condition. Okay, I'll stop here. If you have any doubt, you can ask me right here.